All
Says
right.
live now.
All right. Yes, we are live. Um, all right. Welcome into the Ball Knowers podcast. Very special episode today. Talking some fantasy football, guillotine mainly. Is how we're looking at it today. With my dad, Dkeato, or the dry aging dad. So dry aging dad, how you doing today?
Doing great. Good to see you, kid. I haven't seen you in a while in person.
That is true. Been down in school for quite some time now. So today in this episode, we were looking at uh, the guillotine. Like I said, guillotine fantasy. We're going to be talking about how much you should be bidding on the players that were most often cut this week, and even players that were just in free agency. How much you should be looking at them. Like you mentioned right before we started, guys like Hassan Haskins or Kamani Vidal or whoever else it is out there that wasn't on a roster going into last week. And then if we have some time at the end, maybe we'll get into some trade targets or people that you should be looking to sell, maybe after a good week or because they haven't been performing or whatever it may be. But we could start off with the players who were most often cut this week. I've got a list of them. I'll give you the percentage of leagues that they were cut in, and then their upcoming 3 games, and just you can let me know how much you would bet on them, what if how you feeling on them, hot or cold, something like something along those lines. So
Okay.
first guy up here we have is Brock Bowers. He was cut in 15.4% of leagues this week and plays Tennessee at home, Kansas City at in Kansas City, and then has a bye week. So how are you feeling about Brock Bowers? So
All right. Well, the first thing is he's hurt
that is true.
and he's not playing well anyway. And his quarterback is not good. He throws way more picks. I'm not a fan of Bowers. I wasn't a fan preseason. I told you this going into the preseason. You had Genty and you had Bowers, and they were both considered first round picks. And I said, there's no way that the Raiders can support 2 first round picks because they're not even going to finish 500. And that's coming true.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't trust Gino. He shouldn't even be a starting quarterback in the league, not on that team. So I don't want Bowers. He's a guy that you're going to put in there. You're going to spend a lot of money. He's going to go for a lot of money tomorrow when people wake up. Some people are going to be sad that they didn't get him for like $100 or $125. And then later they're going to be happy that they didn't get them. They didn't get Bowers. So I don't want him. Let someone else get him. Let someone else spend money. I wouldn't even bid $5 because I don't want him.
I'm honestly I'm right there with you. With not bidding on Bowers, I have him. I think I got him in one league this year, and it wasn't even like I was particularly high on him going to the year, but he just kind of fell to me in one of my drafts, and obviously it's been a complete disappointment. He missed last week with like an injury that was lingering since week 1, and injured or not, like his performance in all of the games so far has been not good. And like you said, Gino is not a starting quarterback in 2025.
He was
I
for
think
1 week
yeah
when he threw 3 touchdowns to Trey Tucker.
yeah, he's had 1 week this season with 0 interceptions, and I think every other week has been 2 or more. It's been simply embarrassing.
Right.
I don't think he's starting for them next year, and he's on a pretty sizable contract. I think it was like a 3-year, 100 million or so. Like it's not a guy you could just cut easily. So they're kind of in a sticky situation now.
Yeah, well, you say he's thrown picks in every game. Hot tip right here. If you're streaming defenses, see who's playing the Raiders because
Yeah, 100%.
It's probably somebody worth picking up.
We have 2 chats from Brandon here saying we are seated, and Mr. Keating, you raised a great young man. Some great comments there. Thank you, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
All right. So next up, we have James Cook, who was cut at a 13.9% rate. Plays in Atlanta, then has a bye week, and then in Carolina.
All right. So Atlanta's not scary. The bye week is scary because that's a 0. So, and we're only concerned about the next 3 weeks because the entire landscape is different 3 weeks from now. You're going to have different players out there to bid on. Your roster's going to look different. and that assumes that you're going to be alive. So the bye week is very concerning. Um, on the other hand, James Cook was kind of nothing against the Patriots,
Mhm.
and he might be a little bit of a discount.
Yeah.
So if
I'm
you,
looking at here 15 carries for 49 yards he had this past week, 4.9
yeah,
points, which basically every other week has been his lowest week was week 1 where he scored 18.7. He scored at least one touchdown in every week besides this past
yeah,
week.
yeah, and he could take it to the house anywhere on the field.
Mhm.
So the game script didn't work for him against New England. If you take a look at your roster and you think you can get by at running back for Cook's bye week, then I think he's someone desirable to have on your team. He'd be way more desirable if his bye week was last week. If he was on the Packers, say.
Definitely.
So uh, I don't know. I know other podcasts that do this, and they talk about what dollar amounts they would bid, but I always thought that wasn't quite accurate because they don't know how many dollars you have.
Yeah, at this point it's a little bit tough to do that. I was when planning for this podcast, I was kind of thinking how exactly is this conversation going to go? But you can't really say, oh, James Cook, I'd bid 252 because I might only have $600 left, or maybe my running backs are already really good. Like, there's a lot of 5 weeks into the season. There's a lot of variables to go at rather than just based on $1,000, which nobody has at this point. And if you do, you're probably out of the league. Um, you know,
Right.
how would you? How much would you do? Like, it's like every week you start paying a little bit less for each player because you have a little bit less. Um,
So
yeah.
I would I would ask you to consider you do you see yourself, or if you see yourself in the final two, is Cook on your team? Is he a guy that you're going to put on your team now?
Yeah.
And you're going to have him. He's going to carry you, or you're going to carry him
Hmm.
all the way to the finals.
I
And if
say
the
yes.
answer is, I would say he's really close. He's not Gibbs and he's not Bijan, but he's right there. He's not McCaffrey,
Hmm.
but there's a good chance that he could be on a final team.
Yeah, and at least a worst case scenario on the bench.
If he's that much better. And another thing that no one ever talks about is you might, if you get to the finals and you have the opportunity to have Cook, you might want to have him just to keep him away from the guy you're playing.
That's true.
So okay. I mean, I don't disagree. I think Cook is a guy that is in the conversation to be in the finals. So that's a big chunk of your money. So if you don't want to talk about specific dollar amounts, let's say that you have, I don't know, $800 left at this point, 850.
Yeah, $200. I'm probably putting on him.
I think so too.
Yeah, and I think
But
200. You
only,
could probably get him with that.
but you have to look at your roster right now, and you have to see who else is on bye in 2 weeks. And if it's going to be Cook, and I don't have the schedule in front of me, so I'm not going to tell you. You could
Hmm.
probably get it faster than me.
Yep.
But who are the other running backs that are on bye, or even receivers? And if one or two of those guys are on your team, and now you're going to add a third, well, you're looking to get chopped because who are you going to pick up off the waiver wire, or you're going to spend more money. So
Yeah,
it's
teams
very,
teams on bye week. Week 8. You said for
yes.
week
Well,
7 at
whoever
least, right? Yeah.
7 is the Bills. Yes.
Yeah, so for the Bills, it's only them and the Ravens. It's a pretty light bye week. So that's a kind of unless you have Derrick Henry, who I mean is
Right.
another guy that's surprisingly Derrick Henry's not on this list. He's
Yeah.
I would expect him to be on the list for most weeks this season so far. He's been kind of like just not good simply.
Yeah. No kidding.
Obviously the team got injured and everything, but he has not been any sort of help towards them winning games. Um,
No doubt. You and I drafted him in our auction league, and we're currently in last place.
yeah, it's not that league's not looking good. But
No, but we
it's
won it
okay.
last year.
Yeah,
We
so
won last year.
you can't win every year. All right, moving along on the list. There's a few names here that, like for example, the next guy is Jameson Williams. The fifth guy on the list is Zach Ertz. I don't feel like we really need to speak on them because it's just like I probably wouldn't bid much on JMO if anything at all. Kind of the same with Zach Ertz.
Just real quick on him. The problem with the Lions is last week it was Gibbs, it was the Montgomery show, and then Laporta showed up.
Hmm.
Uh,
And
Next
Amon
week,
Ra
he
has
could,
been scoring every week too.
yeah. So there's just not enough touchdowns to go around.
Mhm.
Uh, he's the guy out. He's going to get you two more 20-point weeks, and then you're going to have in between 5 and 6 point weeks, and that will your head will be on the floor.
Yeah, no doubt
So
about it.
I don't want him. He's a big name, a big favorite. August wasn't that long ago, so let someone else have him.
I agree. In one of my leagues that I'm in, I picked up Amari DeMarcado, and somebody, there was a lot of hype around who was going to be the guy there, which I figured is actually going to be Michael Carter. But somebody picked him up right after I picked up Amari, so I couldn't do anything about it. And then somebody offered me Jamison Williams for DeMarcado just straight up, and I instantly accepted it because once Benson comes back, DeMarcado is nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, not like
there's
that.
nothing now.
Not like the trade is gonna really be worth anything, but it was just a crazy steal.
There's
All right,
nothing
moving
now.
along. Yeah, no, certainly not. I mean, did you see it? Jonathan Gannon got fined $100,000.
I saw.
Yeah,
Wrong.
that's a hefty fine.
How much does DeMarcado get fined for premature celebration?
Yeah, I don't think there is a fine for that, but he probably loses some snaps next week, which is arguably more important.
Yeah.
Um, all right, moving along on the list is Bucky Irving at a 12.4%, playing San Fran, at Detroit, at New Orleans. I'll pull up Bucky's stats here. So, what's
Yeah,
your hot or cold on him?
I'm
He
a big
obviously,
fan.
yeah, obviously he missed this past week, is why he's on this list.
Yeah, he's going to miss next week too.
Yep,
They said he's got a shoulder dislocation that's worse than his ankle or foot.
yep.
So the good news is he's not on IR. The bad news is he's probably going to be out just as long as if he was on IR. So he's a great guy. If you can stash him and you can survive the next few weeks when he comes back healthy, he's dynamic and he's a winner. He's another guy I can see being in the conversation for end of the year on your team. So I would not bid James Cook money on him because it's a difference between being healthy and being hurt. So I don't know if we're saying that you got $800 left and you want to go into November with, I don't
Throw a
know,
hundred.
you want
I
to
throw a
go in
hundred
there.
at him.
I think so. I think you want to go into November with $500. I think
I
$100.
like.
I think I might even go lower. 75.
I don't know, because I feel to me the way I look at it is, and right before we started recording, we were talking about how in one of the leagues that we're in, I got CD Lamb for $102, where nobody even else bid on him, and this was last week. Obviously, he had the injury, and like he's still injured at this point. He might not play even going into next week. But to me, I saw that as like CD Lamb when he's healthy is going to be a top 3 to 5 receiver in any week,
I
and
agree.
if I have to wait 3 weeks to play him, that's fine because he might not be available in 3 weeks, or even if he is, then maybe there's not the opportunity to get him, and, I don't know. I think it's worth, like, I would pay $100 for Bucky Irving knowing I'm not gonna play him this week because once I eventually get him, that's gonna be cheap. If he was healthy, he would've been, right there with James Cook.
That's a lot of optimism. I understand that you have to play for the future and you're playing for next week at the same
Mhm.
time, but I
Yeah.
would back it off a little bit. And I mean, every single person out of the 13 that are left is going to have a Monday night where they're sweating,
Mhm.
and you don't want to be sweating uh, because maybe you could have bid a few more dollars on somebody else because you were so keen on getting Bucky Irving. I would go lower. If I got him, I'd be happy. But
Mhm.
uh, you will probably see Bucky Irving back on this chopped list in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Alright, moving along then. Uh, Roma Dunze at 12.1%. He plays at Washington, home versus New Orleans, and then at Baltimore. He obviously got cut this week because the Bears were on bye week.
Yeah, that's a heck of a good schedule too. Adunze is great.
Yeah,
He
that
is
Baltimore
the
game, he might go crazy.
Yeah, that's the A. He's the A receiver there. Caleb looks his way all the time, and Adunze is just he can catch anything thrown his way. So uh, I don't know. That's a great schedule. He can absolutely get you some serious points in the next 3 weeks.
Mhm.
So
Has scored every week so far. Hasn't gotten
Yeah.
under 10 or under 12 points. He's been pretty good.
How's he ranked overall amongst wide receivers, fantasy wise, for the season?
He's 40. So I'm looking at Yahoo ranks. He's 42nd ranked. I think that's out of everybody though, and not just receivers. I don't know. Let me see. I'll look up if I can find that. But so how much? What are you thinking on Romadunes? There, are you high on him? Low on him?
I'm pretty high on him. I would go over 100, maybe 120 on him.
Okay, I'd probably put. Yeah, if we're going about like an $800 basis at this point, I'm saying probably 125 at the most. I think that's pretty fair. Probably 100, closer to there.
I, I'm not, he's not one of the guys that I am absolutely going to be going after. Like, I'm going to bid it up even more and go back and revisit my bid 3 more times and add five
Mhm.
more dollars and $12 more.
Yeah.
So, but I would not mind having him on my team. But let's just, that's a very good, let me see something. Let's just go to my team. I have for wide receivers McConkey, Adams, and Ridley. So
And okay. And
he's
what league
probably
is this?
better than all three of them. G2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Doomsday is an upgrade. It's an upgrade for me. So he's definitely worth 100, $125. All right. That's cool. You agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, this is a big name because of another bye week this past week. Bijan Robinson at 12.1%. Obviously, he is in our second guillotine league. He's a free agent as well. 12.1% drop this week, playing in at home versus Buffalo, at San Fran, and then home versus Miami. So this is the big name of the week. I would imagine that a lot of leagues are seeing him in the free agency pool. He's on the thumbnail of the video. I'm probably I don't think I actually have put in my official bid for Bijan in our league yet. I I'd go pretty high on him though. I mean, he
All right.
is like you said in the beginning, is this player a person who will be on my final roster? And I think without a doubt, there's no argument to it. Bijan is probably your RB1 at the end of the season.
Yeah. It's either him or McCaffrey or Gibbs. That's why I see
Mhm.
it. So for your audience out there, Jack and I are in the same league, and this is a player that's available to both of us. And I know Jack's going to bid on him, and Jack knows I'm going to bid on him. So take that for
Yeah,
what it's worth.
I'm
Uh,
I'm probably not gonna say my well. Also, like if you say some outlandish like $350, I'm not gonna go put 351. Like it's I'll live with whatever. I might even have. Let me check if I already bid on him. But yeah. So how based on what you said earlier about players being your end of season guys, how do you feel about Bijan?
it's basically like getting the first overall pick again. And I think you can spend 30% of your money. That's what I would suggest. And
Yeah.
maybe even more if somehow you scraped by, if you have Derrick Henry right now and you're scraping by, you need some help.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it
Certainly.
depends on your roster makeup looks like. Uh, but if you already have somebody like Gibbs or McCaffrey and you can drop John right next to him, it's pretty good. Even you're going far.
hmm Yeah, I'm certainly looking at him in G2 because I have Amari and Hampton, and I have Gibbs, but obviously Hampton goes down on IR. Um, I don't know. I might end up putting my Gibbs bid a little bit higher, but I feel pretty comfortable where I have it already. Um, I don't fully expect to get him, but if I did, I'd be pretty happy at the
Yeah, well,
price
this
that
one
I. Yeah.
odds are that he'll be on here at some point again. But
Yep.
then again, the odds are that you're not going to make the final tip, just statistically.
You're not incorrect about that. All right, moving along. Off of Bijan. We have a guy who missed this past week, and then we saw his backup Rico Dowdle go completely nuclear for what was it, 200 rushing yards. You got Chuba
Yeah.
Hubbard at a 12% drop rate, playing at home versus Dallas, at New York Jets, and then home versus Buffalo. I'm gonna pull up the stats for Rico Dowdle while I'm waiting. But how do you feel about Chuba Hubbard for moving forward?
Not interested at all. I wouldn't bet a dollar. I think he might lose his job. He's more banged up than expected. He's still week to week. If you're day to day, that means that you might play Sunday. If you're week to week, that means you might play next week.
Mhm.
Dowdle absolutely killed it. I picked him up last minute in another league. Uh,
Well, I'm seeing him saying day to day here. Canales ruled him day to day this afternoon.
but doesn't it say his calf injury is lingering worse than they expected?
Yeah, it doesn't like the paragraph doesn't seem as positive as the headline. It
So
doesn't, yeah, it doesn't make me feel like he's gonna play. But go on
after
about Rico Dowdle.
Dowdle,
Yeah.
after Dowdle looked so good this past week, there's no reason to rush Hubbard back, and
Mhm.
he's got the huge revenge game in Dallas. So you're going to lose Hubbard for at least a week, and then after that, I know that he's got the big contract, but I don't know. It seems to me, uh, I would think that that is going to be more of Dowdle's backfield than it had been previously. So I'm not interested in Hubbard. I'm interested
Mhm.
in Hubbard 2024, but there's no time machine.
Yeah.
So I
So
don't know. I don't want him.
so since in week 3, Dowdle went from 6 carries to 10, and that was the first week he scored. And the following week he had 9, and then this past week 23 for 206 and a touchdown, 3 receptions for 28 yards. Yeah, so he went absolutely crazy. Brandon once again in the chat saying 200 rushing, 20 receiving, and a touchdown, but I wouldn't trust Rico to go as nuclear.
There's no
Um,
doubt.
yeah, I'm not expecting him to have 200 rushing yards again. If he does, then fair enough. But he is playing Dallas, and we've seen now however many weeks at this point where Dallas has allowed just anybody to score at will on them. I
Yes.
mean, like the Bears have had crazy games against them. The Giants looked really good against them. The Packers looked really good against them. There's other teams that I'm forgetting at the moment. Like nobody hasn't had a bad week against Dallas yet. So, or I guess besides the Jets, but it's the Jets, so it's kind of hard to read too much into that.
That's a nice garbage time. Fields
What
and
do you say?
Wilson did. Fields and Wilson had nice garbage time against the
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Oh, that's the Fields special. That Fields in the fourth quarter will always find a way to get some garbage time touchdowns and yards. Um, yeah, I
My
wouldn't be
thoughts on
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Dowdle has another pretty decent game against Dallas.
yeah, me too. So, but the question is Hubbard, and I
Yeah.
don't. He's not going to play this week, is my guess, and he hasn't been setting the world on fire. And I don't know if he's better than my flex. I doubt it.
Hmm.
So he's just a bench spot. He's a bye week fill in, and that's in
Yeah.
2 weeks from now. I mean, maybe I throw $5 on him just to
Hmm.
keep everybody honest, keep the $0 bidders away.
Yeah.
But that's really it. That's it for me.
Not yeah. Not enough to actually like get the player. I get what you're saying. Um. All right. Well, we could move along because I my opinion pretty much is the same as yours in that I don't really think that Hubbard would add too much to my team, and I'm not dying for him. I don't think that most teams would add too much by getting him onto their team. So we can keep it moving to the next player on the list. Somebody that I drafted a whole lot this year and has majorly disappointed, Travion Henderson.
Yeah.
Uh, Last week, 6 carries for 24 yards, 2 catches for 3 yards. His worst fantasy performance of the season after scoring his first career touchdown last week versus Carolina. Goes into an at New Orleans, at Tennessee, and then versus Cleveland stretch here, cut at a 11.9% mark. Oh, the Marlins beat the Tigers. Interesting. All right, but so Antonio Gibson just tore his ACL, so he's going to be out for the season. And there's still the massive fumbling problem with Ramondre Stevenson. So it's hard to keep buying out of Trayvon Henderson when the other running backs in this room are just awful.
Right. So
Given all that stuff, yeah.
Vrabel's plan is to give Ramondre so many carries that he gets the fumbles out of him.
Okay.
It's like
Yep.
practice on Sunday.
Yep.
The more he fumbles, the more carries he gets. So at some point, someone's going to say, you got to give the kid the ball because
Yeah,
Ramondre's not the same player he was. Uh,
not at all.
that being said, it's kind of like the same boat as Hubbard. He's probably somebody who's bench, and then I'm going to stick him in on a bye week or as an injury fill-in, and I'll be nervous.
Mhm.
So I would throw a few bucks on him. I wouldn't throw any substantial money. 10, 15.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I will say though that the Patriots look really good. I mean, so far this season and in general, these past 2 weeks, obviously they blew out Carolina and then the statement win on Sunday night versus the Bills. Um, and if Drake May is going to keep looking this good and the offense is going to be rolling like this, and Henderson looks pretty decent when he's playing. His pass blocking has been pretty poor, and his vision hasn't been great so far, like as good as I was hoping. But he's like Stevenson has not been good, to put it simply. His fumbling
Yeah.
has cost them games at this point. They lost the Pittsburgh game because of him. Um, it's just hard for me to imagine that they just don't go with Henderson at least soon. I mean, especially like with some easier games like Tennessee and the Saints coming up. Like it feels like games that he could really start to get it going. But
I totally agree with that. But by the time he may be getting it going in 3 weeks,
mhm,
A, you may see his name on this list again.
sure.
B, your team is going to be better in 3 weeks, assuming you're still alive than it is today.
Mhm,
So is he just like a 3 week fill in? And he's not the primary carrier right now.
that's
He's
true.
just not interesting to me. I want guys that are going there and produce right away.
That's fair. Okay. All right. Well, then the last guy on the list I have is Woody Marks. Or I have two last guys. I have Woody Marks and Drake London. So I don't have the drop percentages for them, but they were both over 10% drop percentage in leagues. Um, Woody Marks, I can pull it up quick.
Brutal.
Who he plays? Yeah, I mean I really thought my expectations for him was pretty high going into this past week after a dominant week 4. His upcoming schedule is he has a bye week this week, and then at Seattle, and then versus San Fran. So how do you feel about Woody Marks moving forward?
Yeah. Well, this was a week ago. I would have told you that they turned the page in
Hmm.
Houston, and Nick Chubb is yesterday's news. And then Sunday, that's not what happened. So I still think he has potential, um, but I'm really disappointed. I would put him near the same category as Hubbard and Henderson, and I would throw some money, maybe a little more, because I still think that he has potential there. The game script down there was passing and passing. Stroud was just chucking the ball all over the place.
Hmm.
Chubb did get the one touchdown, and so I don't, I don't know, $25 on him. Last week it probably would have been 75.
Fair enough. I think 25 is probably fair. Maybe I would go as high as like it's probably 25, maybe 30. I can't really convince myself to go that much higher for a guy that, I mean, he had one great week, and if he plays again like he did this past week, he's never seeing my starting lineup. So I can't really put more than
Right.
$50 for a guy that potentially, or maybe even higher than potentially, won't see my lineup. All right, and then the last guy I have is Drake London. His upcoming schedule, I did name it or Bijan, but it's Buffalo, Buffalo at San Fran, and then versus Miami. He's had a decent season. More so, week 4 is really where he came on. 8 receptions, 110, and a touchdown. So in week 4, um, in the win versus the Commanders. How do you feel about Drake London and kind of this offense in general? I know you just made that trade for Kyle Pitts in one of your leagues, so maybe you're buying into the Falcons a little bit.
A little bit. A little bit. I think Penix is playing better. I think the Falcons can be better than they have been playing.
Hmm.
Um, and I think maybe Pitts is going to finally start to show us a piece of why he was drafted in the first round. So I do. I like London. I like him way more after that week 4 performance. So I don't think he's a guy you're going to have on your team at the end, but he's still a good piece to get you there. So I think $60. I think that's where I would put it on London.
I think I'd go about 75 or so. I mean, I feel like I tend to spend more than you do. Um, but I kind of I believe in the Falcons a little bit. They looked pretty good in that Commanders game, albeit not the toughest defense that they're going up against or anything. But Commanders are a pretty decent team, and Drake London looked pretty solid, and Penix looked to start to get put it together. Their double-headed running back room is was looking pretty good too. So maybe that offense is starting to come together now. I'll give it another week on Monday night versus Buffalo before I really like hardcore commit to that though. All right.
Right now,
Mhm.
you're giving. I know you're giving like general advice, but like take a look at your roster and see is London a starter for you? Because I would start him over Ridley on my team, and
Okay.
I would start him over McConkey. Not McConkey. Yeah, Lad McConkey.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so he's a guy that I would plug into my starting lineup. So that's why I'm going to throw more money his way. You
I
disagree with
guess
me?
I guess you on my team I have Jacoby Myers, Worthy, and CD Lamb slash Zay Flowers, Shakir in the flex. Whoever is going to be my flex at the moment because I don't know if CD's going to play or not yet. Um.
Yeah, I think I'd play London over
Yeah. So
Flowers right now.
I play him over Jacoby and I play him over Flowers.
Yeah,
Um. Yeah,
so for you, he's worth a few more bucks.
that's true. Yeah, you're not wrong about that, especially with Hampton going down. It kind of shakes up my roster a little bit more.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it's scary. This year has. I mean, I feel like we say it every year with like, oh, this is the bad year with injuries, whatever. But this year truly has been just awful with players getting hurt. It feels like every
Yeah,
first rounder is either like an absolute home run or they got hurt.
yeah.
But I mean, it happens. Everybody's dealing with injuries. All right, so we can get into the players that were cut in our league that we haven't mentioned already. So I'll start out. Tyler Warren. He leads all tight ends in receiving yards this season, and his stats this season. Let's see his game log. He one touchdown. He's gotten 70 plus yards in 3 out of 5 games. He's gotten like 5 or so catches in basically every game so far. He's been really consistent throughout the season, and Daniel Jones has been much better than everyone was expecting. And especially in a tight end fantasy year that is so up and down. Like you're either getting 10 points or like 4. It feels like the season. Um, so how do you feel about Tyler Warren? How much would you bid on him, or you know?
So he's got half point PPR. He is fifth in average points per game. Um, but that makes Darren Waller is actually number one because he's
Yeah,
only played in 2 games.
yeah.
The guys who are ahead of him, Kittle, Kelsey, Pitts, AJ Barner. So Kittle's out.
Hmm.
Pitts is iffy. Barner is a question mark, although we'll talk about him later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, these are the other guys that are in the top 12. I think Warren is a home run. Tight ends are really hard to get a good one, and I would spend a lot of money on him. Like I want him on my team.
Hmm.
Uh, I have Tucker Craft right now, I think,
Okay,
but
that's not bad.
if I didn't, I would. And plus, Tucker Craft has already had his bye, which is really
Very nice.
nice.
Yeah.
Uh, I would. I really like Warren, and I would spend money on him, and I would go over $100 on Warren.
Okay.
So that would be.
I know my bid right now is under 100, but yeah, I agree. I would go pretty high on him. I have Kincaid though, so I'm not like dying to get a tight end. But yeah, Tyler Warren, he's been really good this season. I was surprised that he fell to 14 in the draft back in March, and I was thinking that he was the tight end one in this class over um Coaston Loveland and anybody else that was in the class. Um, I mean, Harold Fannin, like there's a lot of people, but for him to fall to the Colts, I mean, it seems like a perfect match made in heaven. He's been just fantastic this season for them.
Yeah, well, that whole team is uh, just crazy. I'm
Yeah,
not saying I'm
shocking.
not saying that I'm going to go over 100 because I do have crafts and his buy is over already. And
Yeah,
I'm
that's fair.
just
If
and
you were
just
to,
have
yeah.
to I just have to tell everybody these are all assuming that none of your guys get hurt the rest of the year. So, um, but you're probably not going to play Warren as your flex,
Mhm.
and you don't need to have a superstar tight end on your bench. But if you have, I don't know, if you have Brock Bowers, Juwan Johnson, Mark Andrews, Njoku, absolutely go out and get
Yeah.
Warren.
Yeah,
Like
he's a safety blanket at a position that, like, there's like 2 maybe. I mean, when Kittle comes back, it's like Warren and Kittle are the 2 consistent tight ends that if they're in my roster, like, in my lineup, I'm not sitting here really sweating over it.
100%.
Where
Look at
mm,
Hawkinson is 22 in average
yeah.
points per game. Uh, Evan Ingram is 27. Johnny Smith is 30. If these
Mhm.
guys are on your team, you have to go because you're going to get an upgrade that's going to add 5 to 8 points per week.
Yeah. And also all
And
those
that's
guys that you just named that was the tight end 8, 9, and 10 basically in the draft. So those are people that were getting drafted
yes,
before people's flexes, or maybe they're before your running back 2. Like, you were drafting those guys pretty high.
these are guys in starting lineups out there, and uh, it's worth, if Warren has been dropped in your league, I would say you make a good effort to go get him.
Yep. And a tight end has such a positional advantage. We've seen it kind of growing more and more in the last few years.
Mhm.
Um, where, since about 2020 or so, you had like the elite top 3 or 4 guys that was basically year after year with, like, Kelsey and Kittle and a few other guys. And then this year you kinda saw, or I guess last year and this year you saw, like, McBride and Bowers come up, but it's still really only 3 or 4, maybe 5 guys that are supposed to be, like, the cream of the crop, and even that kinda got weeded out. Like, Kelsey was going, like, tight end 5 this year, and I don't think I got him in a single league because I knew it was done for him. And he's, been trashed this season, and he's
Yep.
probably in the same tier as Evan Ingram and all them, like, tight end 35 or whatever. But
No,
getting
tell you real fast.
yeah, sure. I
Kelsey
mean,
is 10.
that's surprising. It feels like he's
He's
not been that good at all.
he's just behind McBride.
Alright, fair enough. All right, we can move along to a few other people. This one's
Yep.
pretty interesting to me. Quentin Johnston. Um, Obviously, he really came onto the scene this season, kind of out of nowhere, after having 2 really down years the last 2 seasons of his career, and then the first couple weeks was just like electric, scoring touchdowns and like big games. This past week was 5 catches for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns. Or sorry, that was the first game this season. My bad. This past week was 4 receptions for 40 yards. So it was his first like down game of the season. So how do you feel about him moving forward?
Looking to see where he is. Average points. I don't. How am I missing him? I know he's on this list. He
He's
has to be in
definitely
the
pretty
top 30.
high.
He has to be
Um,
in the top 32. Oh, he's 7.
yeah, he's
All
been
right.
he's been really good this season.
So he's ahead of guys like Jamar Chase, Roma Doomsday. He's ahead of Sutton, Jefferson,
Mm,
Adams, Keenan. He's ahead of Nico. Uh, he's has scored 4.5, then 15, 15, 29, and 12. That's those are starting numbers.
100%.
So I'm sorry. Wow, I'm messing up your podcasting. He has done 22, 14, 12, 20, and this past week was 6.
Okay.
But those are still great numbers overall.
Mhm.
I would I would make an effort to get him, and I think that he would fit in as a starter on most people's teams. Flex minimum.
Mhm.
And what does Hampton going out do? Does that mean that are they going to trust Haskins to do everything that Hampton was expected to do? I think that
I
Herbert's going to
really
have to take
I
it.
don't believe it. No, I don't believe so.
I
I think it's
think
definitely
Herbert's going to have to take it into his hands, right?
yeah. I
So
mean, yeah, that's kinda how the first few weeks were. Herbert got a lot of MVP hype in the first couple weeks of the season because they weren't really running the ball that much. Hampton hadn't really gotten started yet. Najee Harris was still healthy at that point, but, like, wasn't really doing much. Um, and so it was Herbert throwing the ball, like, 30, 40 times a game, and then Hampton started to get going, and, like, I mean, they lost their last 2 games. Their offense didn't look that good against either the Giants or the Commanders. And then now Hampton goes down. I don't think that like I don't. I'm not going to bid on Hassan Haskins or Kamani Vidal. I think Haskins is going to be their starter, but I don't think either one is that good to like warrant me actually playing them, or even really rostering them. And yeah, I don't. I think Quentin Johnson could really produce because of the Hampton injury. I think Lad McConkey's totally going to have to step up now for the first time this season. He's obviously been having a very down year.
So
He's going to have to play well.
so Johnston has produced very nicely, double-digit numbers up until last week.
Hmm.
So uh, I think he's going to go back to where he was, or he should. That would be my expectation. So
Hmm.
if that's in mind, and he's a top 10 receiver, what are you bidding for a top 10 receiver? 200, 175?
I
I
don't
think
know.
you
That
I
feels a
think
little
you'll
bit
get
too
him.
high to me. Oh
It
no,
does.
if you do 200 for Quentin Johnson, you will 100% get him on your team. It feels too high to me though. I'm still a little bit hesitant, not in the sense that I am worried he's not actually this good because like he this season he's been really good. Like I do believe that he's come into his form and like is actually this good of a receiver. Um but I just don't know how consistent he's going to be. I think that he's going to show a lot of flashes and that's scary for me for Guillotine. I put a bid out on him, but I'm not going to do anything that like if he goes for 175, I'll live with it because I was never going to go that
Hmm.
high.
I probably wouldn't either, but I could see somebody getting him. If he scores, what's his average? Almost 15 points a week.
Mhm.
If he's getting you 15 points a week, he's carrying you through the next month. I think you got a good return on your investment at 175.
I guess, yeah, that's fair. I don't know. 175 just feels a little bit too high for me.
I don't disagree. I don't like spending money this early in the season.
Yeah,
Uh,
I definitely have a little bit already, but there were some guys that I felt like were worth it. All right,
yeah.
last few guys that I want to touch on in this league, and then we could go through a few quick in G1, and then talk about our draft. So all right, we talked about Ward, we talked about Johnston, we already got through Bijan. How about Rashi Rice? Still on suspension. He's going to be missing next week as well, and then he's back after week 6. Um, in what seems to be Chiefs offense that is kind of back, although they're still losing games. They, I mean, since Worthy has come back, this has been a rejuvenated offense.
Yeah. So I drafted Mahomes as my starting quarterback a little earlier than ever before in a draft league, and I am not sad about that. I'm sitting in first place, and a lot of it's due to Mahomes.
Hmm.
The run game is spotty, although Kareem Hunt looked all right last night. Um, so I would. Rashi Rice is going to come in and immediately be the alpha, and that is a really good thing for Mahomes to have someone else to throw to.
Definitely.
Although he's been doing a really good job with a limited receiver core. So Rice is going to start killing it. Hopefully, he's been conditioning. He should be 100% fully healthy. And
Yep.
this is the last chance you're going to have a chance to get him. So he's got to be on rosters, right? Although he was cut,
Yeah, I
in our
mean
GP league.
he was dropped in our guillotine league. I wouldn't be surprised if he is one of the higher dropped players in every week, just because he can't go on your IR slot and he can't be played yet, so he's just sitting on your bench. He's taking up one of your 5 or 6 slots. He's been sitting
That's a
there
really good
in
point.
yeah, he's been sitting in. I think I got him in some underdog leagues. I got him in some home leagues. I have Rashi Rice in honestly, probably about half of my fantasy leagues, if not more, this season. And it's not like I didn't even want to have him that much going to the season, but I'm very happy that I do at this point. Because I had Mahomes winning MVP before the season started, and I still feel like he's going to win MVP. Worthy has been great in the last 2 games since coming back, and I would expect Rashi Rice to be even better. Um, Tyquan Thornton's looked really good too, but like these other guys that they have, Juju, Hollywood Brown, nobody has stepped up really to be a good receiver. I mean, Tyquan Thornton is their deep threat. He's never been a deep threat in his career. So it's been a shaky offense, but once Rice comes back, I'm confident that they're going to be one of the best units in the league.
All right. So just looking through in this league, we're talking about G2. Quentin Johnson went for $40 back September 17th.
Okay,
So
that's
that's
after
that's
week
3 weeks
1,
ago.
yeah, or week 2, whatever. Yeah,
Uh, and Zay Flowers went for 85
I think I
two
got him.
weeks ago. Yes, you did.
Yeah,
Nico went for 202.
yeah. Nico is another guy that's in free agency. We could mention again.
All
Um,
right. Well, let's remember what we're talking about right there. And we're going to talk about Jalen Hurts too, right?
yeah, we can touch on Hertz and Nico, and then I guess we could mention ETN. Um, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't like, but all right. So Nico Collins first off, though. Um,
Well, let's talk about Rashi. I mean,
okay,
what are you bidding on Rashi? I think I'm going to go like $60 because
I
I'm going to
didn't.
miss one more week.
Mhm.
I mean, if he's out there, if I would go 60
Yeah,
bucks on Rice. I think that's a fair price for a guy who could end up on your final team.
I agree, and I think like I said earlier with the CD Lamb bid that I did last week, people don't even realize that unless you're the top name in receivers or your running backs, whatever, people don't even realize that you're a free agent that you got cut, and so you could even maybe get Rashi for $40 because people don't even realize that he's out there in free agency.
Yeah. I well, let's see. Last week, Michael Pittman went for 100. The next highest bid was 65. So split the difference on that and call it 80. I think, yeah, $70. I think that's good for Rice. And I'd feel good about that. Um, but let's move on to Nico's. Last week he went for 202. So he's been cut 2 weeks in a row. Which is interesting because it wasn't his fault this week. Or the week before, really. He went for 202 last week. The highest bid before that was highest bid other than 202 was 200, then 156. My bid on that was 71. So show how cheap I am on that one. 202 for Nico last week. Do you think Stroud's going to go out and just start chucking it like he has been or he was last week? All right, we seem to have lost Jack, so I'll just carry this a little bit. Stroud went out there and looked nuts last week. He looked like a rookie again, the end of his rookie year. So if Nico is on your shopping list, he's on the market, and you can go get him. Is Nico a guy that's going to be in the final 5, 8 receivers? Maybe. He looked like it last year, even with a very down Stroud. If Stroud's going to start picking it up again, I don't think you have to go 202, but I think you have to go probably closer to 125. That's probably what I would do. Okay. And we wanted to talk about Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts got cut. Yes.
So I apologize, stream, but my like whole desktop is crashed, so I'm trying to get it back up. But in the meantime, I can do this from the phone.
All right. Well, I was talking about Jalen Hurts. And
Okay.
Jalen Hurts has had a couple of bad or down weeks in a row. Had their first loss this past week. And he's a big name. There are bigger names. But last week, he was cut in this league.
I wonder if it's going to
Oh, the stream's gone? Mine says it's still live. talk as if we're still on the air. Jalen Hurts went for 201 last week, which I think is too much money for a quarterback. The next highest bid was 200, and the next highest bid was 94. It's funny because this is two players, Nico and Hurts, that the guy that got chopped in our league, he got both of them, spent over $400, and they're both back on the list. So I would not go anywhere near that for Jalen Hurts. I think that there are other guys that you can pick up and throw in there. Just look at Stroud last week. Look at Mac Jones. Went in there. McCaffrey's not even a running back. He's a receiver. So and he just gets it done. So I would not spend that kind of money on Hurts. I would spend $50-$60. If I get him, great, but I'm not going to get him for that kind of money. And this is the perfect example. It's perfect. The guy that got chopped, and I doubt he's watching this, but Dave spent $201. Now he's out of the league, and that money was wasted, and he's going to be not participating. So I don't know. It's kind of, I don't want to say poetic, but it's weird how that stuff happens.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go too high on Jalen Hurts. Maybe like $20-$30, but there's a lot of other quarterbacks that have been consistently better this season. And the offense just kind of worries me a little bit. Saquon might be a little banged up too. They're playing a tough Giants defense on Thursday night. I don't love.
Yeah, well, hopefully the Eagles are in decline because that makes me happy.
I agree with that. All right. Well, I'm sure if my stream is going to be able to load back up.
Okay.
But we can finish this stream doing it like this, if you don't mind.
I don't care. I got a few more names I could throw out for guys that got chopped in our other guillotine league. And some of them are big names.
Is there a main guillotine league that we're also in? We've got two of them.
Right. All right. So some big names. The biggest name on this list pre-season is Chase Brown. Highly disappointing. Bengals team so far this year, everyone is just suffering without Burrow. And Chase Brown scored 8 points this past week. 8 points 5 weeks into the season is going to really help you get your team chops. So Chase Brown is out there. Are you bidding on Chase Brown? Are you $0?
I'm not even putting a bid on him. I don't think it's even worth it.
Yeah.
That offense has been so bad. I know that they just traded for Joe Flacco, but that doesn't really change anything in my mind.
No.
I still think it's a pretty bad unit, and I'm not excited to draft anybody or sign anybody from it.
Yep. All right. Another big name preseason. This guy was a first rounder in a lot of leagues. Brian Thomas Jr. He got chopped.
Yeah, I throw a little bit at him, like nothing crazy, like maybe $20 or something, because he's talented enough where I think that he can turn it around. And if he does turn it around, then you're looking at a guy who's worth way more than $20. But do I expect that to happen? I'm not entirely sure. He did have a nice catch versus Chiefs.
Yep.
But probably 20, 25.
I don't disagree. Maybe I'd go 30. He went 4 for 80, no touchdowns, 6 targets. I think $30 is worth the risk. Just for everybody's information, the team that got chopped, these are like kind of big names. Drake May, George Pickens, Brian Thomas, Chase Brown, Woody Marks, Juwan Johnson, terrible, and Chris Godwin. Didn't sound that bad, I guess, before last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. But George Pickens is on this team, and Lamb is still out, and Pickens has been playing kind of lights out. He only had 2 receptions, but one of them was for a touchdown. He scored in 3 weeks in a row. He's putting up nice points to help you. Didn't help this team, but to help you get by. What do you think about Pickens? What kind of money you putting on him? Do you like him better than Brian Thomas Jr.? Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I got some more Shante on my teams too, but Pickens, I think he's been great this season. The more that CD misses time, the more that I will be happy with as a Pickens owner, because I think he had 2 touchdowns the past week and
He had 1 touchdown.
1 touchdown.
2 receptions. He's 57.
Yeah, he's been pretty productive this season. He's been performing well. I would probably go 125 maybe on him.
I think I'd do more like 75.
Okay.
Knowing that Lamb is going to come back, but Dak is going to lead the league in passing yards this year. Is there anybody else? We already talked about Woody Marks. I don't want to talk about Woody. Juwan Johnson.
All right. Am I back? Am I good now?
Hear you.
All right. We're good. Sorry about that, Shreen. That was very strange, but
that's right. I was about to call your mom in here to finish your part of the podcast.
All right. Well,
let's go back. Let's just finish this up real fast. His quarterback was Drake May. So I think this is a good thing to talk about because Drake May is more like a borderline starter than he would be. I guess there's 15 teams left, 13. There's 13. So Drake may or may not be a starter on your team. He was a starter for Ted, who got chopped. For some reason, he kept Murray on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That was a divisional game. Those two always play tough against each other. They know each other.
It's always low scoring. Yeah.
As well as anybody. And they scored 43 points overall combined. But Drake May, he has no passing touchdowns, 273 yards, no picks. It's just boring. If Drake May is out there for you, I mean, there's people who might be listening or watching who need a quarterback, and Drake May's out there. You throwing a few dollars on him, or you just let him slide?
No, I'm definitely throwing a few dollars on him. He's been this season since week 2, 26.3 points, 20 points, 23, and then 12. He had 2 touchdowns passing in all of those games, besides this past week versus Buffalo, a rushing touchdown in 2 of the 3 weeks as well. He's been super productive, and he really has come onto the scene these last few weeks in the sense of like being a good quarterback, not just for fantasy, but actually playing the game well. I'm really high on Drake May in his sense of being a good quarterback. For fantasy, he's not my favorite, but he's ranked 10th this season. I would definitely throw a few dollars on him, especially with some easy matchups like the Saints and Titans coming up. Like the Patriots should probably put up a lot of points against them, probably 2 easy wins or at least 1 easy win in that. So I think he's worth some dollars. I don't see why not, especially I don't know who people's starting quarterbacks would be at this point, but I mean, he might be better than a couple starting quarterbacks left, or at least a better backup, and I think that's pretty important to get to.
Yeah, I think that's true. And his bye week is 14, which is very, very nice. So you don't have to worry about that for a while.
Yeah, I think he's worth it.
Yeah, let's talk about some guys that might be out there who you
like
might want to
are worth
pick
the
up.
bid or so. Okay, I agree.
Yeah, so let's talk about. He showed up late to the scene. He was really good last year, and maybe I think Fannin scored this past week too. But David Njoku is out there if you need a tight end. What are your thoughts on Njoku?
I'm kind of curious on him. So his first good week of the season comes this week with quarterback change with Dylan Gabriel starting instead of Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
He one of the better tight end weeks of the entire season for anybody. Can you please turn off that fan? It's so loud. So his I'll just wait a second. All right, that's much better. So you saw David Njoku, 6 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown. He had 9 targets. I'm in favor of him. He also has a really easy schedule coming up at Pittsburgh versus Miami, at New England. So it's a favorable matchup defensively. And if he is going to be that good with Dylan Gabriel, who I don't think is a particularly great quarterback, but bad quarterbacks throw to their tight ends a lot. And if it's not going to be Fant, it's going to be Njoku.
And so do young quarterbacks a lot. It's something that you see frequently. So what do you throw? You throwing a few bucks on Njoku? $5, $6?
Yeah, $10 maybe. Like you'll probably get him with that. And he's a good. He's the kind of guy that I'll play for 1 week. And if he stinks against Pittsburgh and Dylan Gabriel looks trash, then I'll probably cut him. But maybe you find your new tight end if Gabriel is gonna just pepper Njoku up and down the field.
Yeah, I fully agree. How about Hassan Haskins? We mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, so it's Haskins / Vidal. It's kind of the same situation as DeMarcado and Michael Carter last week for the Cardinals. I'm kind of out on both. I would go Haskins over Vidal. It seems like based on what Harbaugh has said, Haskins is going to be their guy. I believe he was their guy last season, and also Harbaugh coached him in Michigan when Haskins was their RB1 at the time, and he had like a great season there. So I would go Haskins over Vidal. I'm not really intrigued too much on either, though. Maybe I'll put like a free bid, like a $0 bid on Haskins, but I don't really think he's worth because at this point, he would have to be pretty good for him to be actually rostered. And I guess he could be that good, but I don't know. I just don't. My team feels pretty secure to not necessarily need that question mark. I'm struggling to drop players already for the players that are already on teams.
But what if you have Hampton? What if you're a Hampton owner in a guillotine league? You're in your final 13. Staring.
So, I'll take a flyer. I'll 10, 15, $20, I guess at the most. Because
that's what I'm thinking.
He's not you can't go $80 or something on him. You see leagues do that, and it's just if you're playing with a guy like that, you hope that he never goes out because he's a reckless bad owner. I mean, you can't spend a lot of money on Haskins might not even be the starter after this week. Maybe Vidal looks great. And if you blow $100 on him, you're screwed.
Yeah, maybe we're having a different conversation a week from now. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I have no great hopes for him.
Mm.
How about Tajay?
Tajay Spears. No, who cares? Yeah, Spears. I have Pollard. I got Pollard in 2 leagues. Both leagues because my plan was to draft him, play him for the first few weeks with no Tajay Spears there, and then I was going to trade him. Pollard, I saw, has the fewest or the second fewest fantasy points per carry this season, next to Chase Brown, and it's for similar reason. Terrible O-line, and they're just getting, he's getting smashed behind the line of scrimmage. It's a really, really bad offense, so they're not really getting into scoring range much. They're losing a lot, so they're never in a position to run the ball a lot. Pollard is their clear workhorse running back. He's getting the large majority of the snaps. So I have no. Spears can stay a free agent or go to somebody else's team, but he won't be on my team this season.
Okay. All right. I got another one for you, and then maybe you want to throw something out. Okay. Theo Johnson looked alive last week.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie sensation from New York, right? 2 touchdowns. Rookies like rookies, especially rookie tight ends sometimes. And maybe, is this something we're going to see more often? I don't know. He's got a week 14 bye. He's rostered in 12-team leagues, only on 11% of rosters. So there's a really good chance that he's out there in your guillotine league.
Mm-hmm.
You throwing a few bucks on Theo?
I mean, I guess he scored twice this past week and once the week before when Dart got his first start. I mean, 9 points and then 18 points. I think it's worth it. He was very highly touted coming out of college. He was
Yep.
like the RAS scores, which is like your athletic scores based on your combine and like other drills. He was the second highest scoring tight end of all time on it, or I guess like since they started, which was like the 90s or whatever. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, so I mean there's a lot to be excited there, and he's only a second year player. I thought he looked really good last season. Stats wise wasn't amazing, but I think like the tape showed that he was clearly a good player. It's just the quarterback situation was so trash for the Giants last season that nobody was getting the ball. I'm in on Theo Johnson. I think that he's pretty good. And I'm pretty excited to watch this Thursday night game. I think the Giants are going to lose, but the Eagles don't really scare me that much, and so I'm interested to see how the Giants can fare against them. Because I don't know, the Eagles, I'm a little wishy washy on them. Like I think that they are a good team, but they play down a lot. And this is the kind of game that I think maybe not this one because it's in Philly, but the next game versus Philly in 2 weeks, I could see the Giants pulling it out potentially.
Okay. So what do
Yeah.
you think about Theo? $5?
Yeah,
$2?
five, $7, something like that. You'll get him if you put $7 on him. You'll probably get him.
All right. Anybody else you want to talk about?
Not really. I mean, like Ricky Pearsall's out there, but I'm not. That's kind of whatever.
Until Purdy comes back, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, it's an interesting idea.
There's nothing really. I'm looking through our leagues quick. There's nothing really else that is really worth bringing up. I feel. I kind of want to talk to. We can close it out after this. About our our mini chop league.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so this is we do a guillotine league. I've never heard of anybody else doing this, and I tweeted it out a few times, and I got some guillotine writers and stuff to like the tweet. So I think that to me means that they think it's a cool idea. Where we call it mini chop, where we start in week 5, or I guess this season we're starting week 6, but we drafted in week 5 last Thursday, and it's just a guillotine league, but you start it 5 weeks into the season. So we can recap our draft that we had. I had the second overall pick, and we can go.
Yeah, we just did this last week. We did this Thursday during the Thursday night game.
Yes,
so that was kind of fun.
Yes, and so that does mean that guys like who was it that? Let me go round by round. So that does mean that some guys like who was it? Somebody's gotten hurt, like a Hampton or Bucky Irving, like they all got drafted. And I mean, you lost your guy before you could even play in week 1, which is unfortunate. Or I guess week 6, but the first week of the season. All right, so the first pick, I had the second overall pick. The first pick was Puka. Second overall was Taylor. That felt pretty obvious to me.
Or vice versa. But
yeah,
I would go with Puka first.
I would have gone with Puka. I would have been a little bit surprised had he not, because Puka is just having such a all-time season. When I did my podcast with Drake, with Brian Drake, I did say Puka was my least favorite pick of round 1. But it was because I was worried Stafford was going to get hurt. I did say, like, if Stafford's healthy, Puka is going to be really good. But Stafford's back injury was super concerning to me, but whatever.
That's because we consume everything that comes out in the preseason and we overthink it.
No doubt about it. No doubt there. Anything that was too surprising? I'm scrolling through the rounds, trying to see.
I like how Taylor, who was a second round pick in a 12 team, he going second overall, and of course he should.
Yeah.
McCaffrey shoots up to number 3. Bijan went 4. That was a little surprising.
Yeah, I was picking between Bijan and Taylor. Bijan, obviously a big plus to him is that he had his bye week this previous week. So you're going into this league with your number 1 pick who is going to play every single week, assuming health, which is a huge advantage. But I'm still not. I think Taylor's a good pick. I mean, he's having such a good season. It was hard to deny that. But that running back room from Taylor, CMC, Bijan, Gibbs, Saquon, all going in a row there. They're all good picks.
Now you had mentioned Bucky Urban. He was
Mhm.
he didn't play this past week, so we already knew that going into Thursday night. But Fight Club, who happens to be the gentleman we spoke of earlier, who got chopped in a different league, he drafted Jamar Chase in the first round, and he drafted Bucky in the second round,
Mhm.
knowing that neither of those guys were going to play this coming week, most likely for Bucky. He was texting me, and he forgot that it was a draft that he auto picked.
Mhm.
So that just explains that a little bit.
Yeah.
I see Mahomes went in the second round, bottom of the second, pick
Yeah,
number
he was
26.
QB3 after Josh Allen, Hurts, and Mahomes going 3 out of 4 picks in a row.
Yeah, well, I'm the one who took Josh Allen. I've never taken a quarterback in the second round before, but he gets the job done, and I'm hoping I never have to take another quarterback if I make it to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else surprising here? Chase Brown went in the third round.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Kyron at the top of the third, Chase Brown near the top of the third. Scatabo goes really high, the 6th overall pick in the third. That feels pretty rich to me.
Yeah, over Javante, which is crazy.
Yeah, over Pickens, Javante, ETN. Like there's a lot of questionable picks there. Buka falling to the 404 is a ridiculous steal. I believe he is now third all time in rookie points per game through their first, or like a rookie fantasy through 5 weeks. He is, I believe, third behind Randy Moss and Puka Nakua. Which I did not. I liked Igbuka coming out of college. I think that he was a good prospect, but
he's so good.
I did not see this as his.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's truly fantastic.
I would have taken him over McConkey. I would have taken him over Brian Thomas. I would have taken him over London.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grabbed Justin Herbert in the third round, begin top of the third in the second overall pick, and I grabbed Kenneth Walker the second round. So I wouldn't. I mean, unless I was going to take Igbuka with one of those, I wasn't going to get the opportunity to take him. But had he been there in the fourth round, I certainly would have, and maybe I should have in the third, but I needed the quarterback. I grabbed CD at the second overall pick in the fifth round, which I think was a fantastic pick. I felt like he just fell really far, with considering he has the chance to play in the opening week of this season. And even if he doesn't play this week, I still feel confident that I can survive 1 week or maybe 2 at the most for him to come back and play for me.
Yeah.
You see Lamar get drafted in the 11th pick of the fourth round. That was kind of tough because, yeah, I mean, he did have the injury concern going into that draft, though. I don't know if he'll play in that first week, upcoming week. Which, if he doesn't play this week, that's bad news for whoever drafted him.
I think we already knew that Lamar was not going to play this past weekend because he pulled his hamstring the week before.
Yeah, we did know that. Yes.
Yeah, my strategy in this draft was to later in the draft to take guys that were going to be coming off IR, like Kittle. I took Kittle in the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably not going to play this week, but if I miss him for a week, I think that I'll be in pretty good shape, and I'll certainly survive this week. I say that, but who the hell knows?
This person's team, Hey Scattaboo Boo.
Yeah.
So draft Saquon first overall, first round, and then Hurts, and then Scatabo, and then rounds 5 and 6 are Chris Godwin and Darius Slayton. So they have 3 current or former Giants in their first 6 rounds. I don't know if I love that strategy.
Yeah, well, so that's Tom, and in the auction league we play in, Jack, I won that a whole bunch of times, and one of the times not too long ago, I beat him in the championship. So he apparently knows what he's doing. This looks like a pretty bad team. Let's wrap this up by just looking at the Yahoo projections for the week. I'm sure all of your fans out there really, really care. It looks like that team is projected 8th, and it looks like our friend Joe is going to lose, but he's got to fix his lineup, I'm sure. And You are.
I'm pretty safe.
You're
I'm
7,
looking.
and I'm 4. So
Yeah,
that's that.
I don't know. I feel pretty good about my team. I got the Herbert, Quentin Johnson stack, Taylor and Kenneth Walker. I feel pretty good. I am starting Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker because Jordan Addison is on a bye. I mean, I could go Alec Ayamanor, but I don't know how much I love that.
No.
Maybe I mean I could play CD. We'll see. There's a chance I could still play CD. I'm really holding out hope that he plays this week because that would be huge for
Okay.
a lot of my leagues.
All right.
Yeah.
Before we go, I
Mhm.
wanted to give I just wanted to shout out. I don't know these guys, but I listen to them all the time and I read their stuff. The guys from guillotineleagues.com, Charchian and Brian Johnson, they're great. And that's where I got this idea to start this, I think, 5 or 6 years ago.
Mhm.
We don't use their format, but and now Yahoo does allow, they have a platform just for guillotine leagues. And you can go out and start your own guillotine league right now, either on guillotineleagues.com or on Yahoo. They're both free. So there's a free ad there for charge.
They a lot of fantasy apps are coming around to Guillotine. ESPN has started doing it. Yahoo is starting to. Actually, I don't know if ESPN is, but I know Yahoo has their Chopped leagues, which is just a Guillotine league. Sleeper is doing Chopped leagues as well. Maybe ESPN is, but they're usually pretty far behind the curve with fantasy updates. But I know I know Yahoo and Sleeper are. So this is
Yeah.
becoming a pretty popular thing.
Yeah. All right. And so if anybody made it to the end of this podcast and you have any interest in dry age steaks, you should go to Dry Aging Dad on Yahoo and watch all the stuff that I do
YouTube. That's what he means.
on YouTube. What did I say?
Yahoo.
Oh, you go to YouTube. Look, I'm an old dude. I'm a dry age dad. So go there and watch the dry aging. Jackson, some of those videos, trying steaks, and it's very exciting. And you can see my setup in the basement where we dry age thousands of dollars worth of meats. It's very fun. All right.
Yeah. And I don't think we have anything else to really bring up here. That was a good recording, a good podcast. I feel maybe potentially we'll see you again in the future sometime for another episode.
Yeah, and then maybe we'll see you in some dry Asian dad videos too.
Yeah, eventually when I come back home, I'll be back in them. You just got to start posting more. We haven't seen the content enough.
Yeah, I'm editing a video right now where we compare a 32-day dry age steak to a 50-day dry age steak. So that's pretty good.
Okay, that's exciting. All right, well, until my next video on Tuesday at 9:30 next week. I don't know what I'll be doing next week, but I'll figure it out during this week, and you'll see on your timeline. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and see you around.
See ya, kid.